GGEN Nation, the theater room, reviews and deep dives. What's going on, everybody? We are here. Zuplex, Spartacus, your
What's
boys.
up?
We have another new release in the month of June, which they decided in 2023 was going to be the month of all movies, basically. Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. So
now I know you guys have been waiting for this because our trailer reactions to this have blown up,
and we appreciate that. But
absolutely,
two of the most popular reaction videos we've done, with a lot of feedback, a lot of comments. So here we are for the movie. Now, I am not an avid Transformers fan. Not that I didn't like them, but growing up, I just never got into it, really. Not the Beast Wars, not the Transformers, none of it. Carmine, I know you are.
I'm a huge fan. I was a Transformers kid, man. I had everything.
So this is going to be interesting because
robot in disguise, you can imagine.
Right. And I'm sure there's things that I liked that maybe you're not going to like because of the fact that you know the property so well and vice versa. So I want to get into this. I want to get started. Yeah. So my first question or my first comment that I remember when I'm sitting in the theater watching this was timeline wise. So this takes place. This is technically a prequel to the Michael Bay Transformers.
I think they've just created a new timeline with the Bumblebee.
It almost seems
movie.
Like they branched off, right? And
it doesn't seem like they're really like gonna be connecting it to the Michael Bay movies.
Mm-hmm.
Or not Michael. Well, the Michael Bay,
Bayverse.
Directed.
I don't know
directed, also produced because he didn't direct the last like two of them.
But Mark Wahlberg ones are a part of his series of movies. So
because he was producer on them, but he wasn't a director on them. It seems like they just started Bumblebee, which I loved when it came out.
Yeah, Bumblebee was great.
Amazing.
I thought it was awesome.
And this is the sequel to Bumblebee.
But that leads me to my first kind of complaint, right? Before we get into like the actual kind of like play-by-play for the movie, is Michael Bay. My biggest problem with him, and this is coming from someone, like I said, who was not a huge fan of Transformers, was that he made it too complicated. And what I'm talking about specifically is the transforming sequence. In the cartoons, it's almost like a lot of big blocks, which I guess you can't really do. You want it to look better than that. But he went way overboard with all the little gadgets and everything moving and turning and readjusting, whatever. I thought Bumblebee did a good job of kind of like streamlining it and dumbing it down a little bit, so it felt more like the cartoons, but it still also felt very organic and technical. And then here, it's like they went back to the Michael Bay style of Transformers.
Yeah, I disagree though. Like I think they kept the same style from Bumblebee. It was way less intricate of transformations, especially like when you look at Optimus Prime. Mm-hmm. Like when you look at Optimus Prime, he takes the same shape, the same transforming style as in the cartoons, where he drops down, his hands come like kind of into the body of the front of the truck. And I love that it's the original like flat faced Freightliner truck and everything like that. The designs of all the robots in this version, I thought were really, really, really well done.
I mean, listen, I do like the way it looked. I like each character. I like Optimus Primal. The Rhino was cool. Bumblebee is, still my favorite one. Just, based off of the live action movies, Bumblebee is clearly the best one in my opinion. But let's go through the movie. So in the beginning, we start off with, or the movie, I should say, starts off with, basically, what's his name? Unicron attacking. Now, is that what's it called? What's the planet they're from? Why can't I think of the name of the planet?
That wasn't Cybertron. No.
That was not Cybertron in the beginning.
No, that was a different planet that the Maximals had made their way to kind of like colonize and everything like that.
Okay. So I was interested in the way it started. We got a little origin story for Optimus Primal. I did feel that it was a little slow though. I kind of wanted it to start off with a better action scene, and I guess they were just trying to tease how strong Scourge is and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, I mean, it was definitely a indicator of like what they were up against later on in the movie.
But now let me ask this question: Is Unicron supposed to be like a big ball that floats through space like that?
Yeah, yeah. If you ever see the Transformer version of him, he's just a giant planet, and then he actually does the toy actually transformed into a giant robot. He's the biggest
Really?
one of the biggest Transformers they ever made, if not the biggest. I think with the new versions of Unicron that certain I can't remember the name of the company, but a new company came out with a new designed one, and it's the biggest Transformer they've ever made.
Do you think that in a live action movie, I know we don't get it in this movie, that we will see him transform into the robot version?
No, because I think it would be kind of silly looking, to be honest with you,
It's like Galactus,
screen.
I guess, right? Like it's just
Yeah,
a human that's
it's
just floating through space without moving their body.
yeah.
Does in the cartoons now, does Unicron have Scourge and his like minions that he sends out to do
The
his?
Terracons have been. I'm not sure in the more recent cartoons. I'm sure because I haven't watched all of the more recent cartoons.
Mhm.
Basically, I'm more of a old school '80s Transformers,
Okay.
into Transformers movie, Beast Wars, and then kind of after that, I kind of fell out of it a little bit because I, got older or whatever. I went back and watched some things, but yeah, Unicron even in the comics had the Terracons as his
So
henchman kind of.
all right, so I didn't hate that. Peter Dinklage as a bad guy is always a good thing.
Yeah,
But let me ask you
and
this
Scourge
question
was
though.
badass in this movie. Don't get me
How?
wrong.
Oh yeah, no, he was. And I will say the best thing about this movie were the Transformers, which leads
Oh,
me
100%.
to like how bad were the humans? Like, did you care as little for the humans as I did?
No, I love the humans actually in this movie. I thought Noah was great. I like I get I don't understand because we've talked about this before where you poo-poo like the whole human
I
aspect of
just
this because
don't
you
want
just want to see
humans. I just
but
like
the whole idea of the Transformers of the Autobots has
Mhm.
always been that they had to work along human side.
But
From
maybe
the
this is why I never got
cartoons,
into the cartoons because I
from the
just
original
want.
cartoons to everything else, like there was always humans that helped the Transformers, Spike and all these other guys that they always helped, and they were there to work with the humans.
I mean, I get that they're gonna help them, but I'm not signing on to see humans. I don't really care. I didn't care that Anthony Ramos's brother was sick. The movie didn't care either because they started with it and then they just forgot that he had to deal with that. It slows down the whole thing. I just want to see the robots fight, like giant
I
robots
mean,
fighting.
I I get you just want to see giant robots fight, but the whole my thing about the human side of it is it's a very Autobot thing because like the
Yeah,
Decepticons and subsequently in this movie the Terracons, right? They don't give a fuck about the humans. Like the humans are bugs to them. Like they could
well, I
just
guess
squash them and like whatever. And the whole idea of it is that the Autobots create these relationships with humans. And in this movie, I thought it was smart that at the beginning, Optimus was just like, no, like we don't want humans' help. Like, and
yeah,
B was the first one to be like, well, I had a human friend, with his radio talk voice,
yeah.
and um, Mirage was like, dude, like this is my little homie right here. Like, let's do this. The
All
soundtrack
right.
for this movie, by the way, is absolutely fantastic.
The soundtrack was good. I definitely enjoyed that. But let's. You brought up Mirage, so we're gonna bring him up here, and we're gonna talk about him. Steve, what's his name? What the hell? Why can't I think of these actors' names right now? Not Peter Dinklage.
Mirage was Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson. I don't know why I can't think of their names.
Yeah,
I'm just constantly drawing blanks. But like, so what did you feel about him as a Transformer?
I thought he was good, man. Like, I like Mirage. I mean, they changed his base car model and they gave us a little nod to it.
Mm-hmm.
When he's like, you could sell me, I could be a Formula One racer, because in the cartoons he was a F1 racer, and then in this he was a Porsche, which was what Jazz was.
Right, right.
So it was a little different. It was a little like jarring to see like Mirage kind of as Jazz, I guess you could say.
I feel like he was annoying at first, but he grew on me as the movie went on.
Yeah.
At first, it was too much of Pete Davidson trying to like be funny and tell jokes, and it didn't really kind of fit the seriousness. We see Anthony Ramos not really being. Maybe he was trying to be funny, and I just didn't get it. But he was. It was more of a serious kind of character. He's trying to make money. He's getting turned down for jobs.
Well, the cool thing about it was I thought that they're showing other Transformers now have relationships with humans.
Right,
Because like, we always saw B.
It's always
we always
Bumblebee
saw
and then
B.
Optimus Prime at like almost like as a connection to Bumblebee.
Yeah. So now you're seeing other Transformers be like, oh, this is my little human buddy. This is my little buddy Noah.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I did like the, his ability to mimic himself and create mirages and like, they used that pretty well, I thought, in the movie to get rid of the cops. And at the end, I just felt like he was, Pete Davidson's I'm not a fan. He's not that funny to me. People love him.
You know what's wild is I didn't realize that was Pete Davidson until I looked it up afterwards.
Oh, so I recognize right away.
I thought he did a good job of like kind of not making himself Pete Davidson and making himself Mirage in that, because I really didn't I kind of recognized the voice, but I was like, I don't remember who the hell that is. And I looked it up, I was like, oh shit, that is Pete Davidson.
I do agree with you that he did better as the movie went on. I really towards the end I started to care. It was cool to see him be rebuilt at the end. And I do agree with you. I like how Optimus started the movie off not trusting humans at all, then kind of learned to trust them. That was kind of a cool story arc. But
I mean, that's the most important story arc that there is, because for Optimus, now he understands that he has to protect the Earth. And he's, while also trying to go back and protect Cybertron. And I got to give it up, man. Like, listen, there is no better voice actor than Peter Cullen. He has been voicing Optimus Prime since the 80s. This dude does not miss.
I do like in this branching timeline now, if that's what they're calling it, that the war for Cybertron is not over. Which in the Michael Bay version, the war ended and everyone was basically dispersed. Like, I like hear how Cybertron's still there. It's still going strong, but they got to get back there to win it back, essentially. Which was cool.
Which means we might get a war on Cybertron at some point.
Which is what I want. That's what I want to see.
Which would be dope to have.
That'd be amazing.
Amazing. But yeah, so we had the introduction of Scourge and the Maximals, and the Maximals get off the planet, and they wind up on Earth.
And this becomes important. We get the hint that Anthony Ramos' character was in the military, was a decorated officer, but had some anger issues, and
he wasn't able to work with the team.
Right. Sorry,
that was what it was. He wasn't able to work.
But he wasn't able to work with a team, which that's key for the end of the movie. That's kind of a big
huge
plot arc, I guess, that's going to come back in probably the next movie. But going through the Transformers, we basically meet all the main players, right? We meet Mirage. We've met Mirage already. We meet Optimus Prime. We meet our boy that everyone loves. Well, I was pulling up Bumblebee.
Oh, Bumblebee, yeah. And we meet RC.
His look is just awesome. And then let me pull up RC. Now, RC, if I remember correctly, was actually in Transformers 2, right? The Michael Bay Transformers 2.
Yeah, there was like 3 of them, or for some reason I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, because Michael Bay just does what Michael Bay does.
Yeah, like Michael Bay just does Michael Bay shit. But she looks great. I mean, I love the design of her in this one.
She looks really good. Actually,
she looks very close to the way she did in the cartoons, in the original Gen 1 cartoons. I think she was a season 2 character. I don't think she was in season 1. I can't remember, but. RC, I mean, I love RC being like the one female Transformer. To just be like, guys, come on.
I do like, I mean, the idea of that, there's obviously always a MacGuffin, right? So there was a new MacGuffin in this one that Unicron is looking for. We find out that it sent a beacon that would let the Transformers travel home, and it was a nice thing to say that the humans can't see it. So they didn't have to have it on screen all the time, because then also you have to explain that the entire Earth is seen as beam of light go up into the sky now.
It was smart. It was smart to do it that way. It was
smart to do it that way, because now you keep them under the radar. But even though I still don't understand how more people don't see Transformers, the whole scene with Mirage when he's standing outside Anthony Ramos' apartment building. I mean, this is New York. You know,
Brooklyn.
This is Brooklyn. He's standing in an alleyway.
But
There's
you know
nothing
what,
but
though?
windows and apartments.
It makes sense in New York because New York is the only city you ever have to specifically tell if you see something, say something.
That's true.
Because New York is the one city where everybody's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't seen nothing. Nothing happened. I don't know.
I feel like it's similar to the scene in the original Transformers when the Transformers were all outside of Sam's house and like they're just making noise. They're smashing things and falling around and whatever, but no one looks out the window. Like no one ever goes like, what's going on out there? Here, he's in an alleyway in the middle of Brooklyn and he sets off a car alarm. He falls off of a car.
He crushes a car.
Yeah, crushes a car. Making all kinds of noise, you know what I mean? And not one person looks out their window and is like, keep it down out there, you know? But I digress.
Yeah. That's just Transformers shit. You just got to let that happen. You know what I mean?
We get to our first like real action scene, which was basically Optimus and his boys trying to get that MacGuffin and when Scourge and his boys show up. Right. So we get them trying to steal it in the museum. Good scene, you know, it was intense, although I never understand when you make the Transformers. You know, these creatures, these things are so fast, so strong, and the humans just outrun everything. I always crack up. Transformers are the clumsiest. I'm sorry, in this movie, the Terracons might be the clumsiest bad guy Transformers I've ever seen in my life. They're sliding around everywhere. No one has a good footing. It's crazy. No good balance to be had anywhere on screen. But then Bumblebee gets stabbed.
Yes.
Stabbed in the back and dies. And I'm going to put dies in quotes because at this point, we all know he's not dying. This is my problem with the marketing machine. Okay, we saw trailer after trailer that ended with a long shot of Bumblebee flying out of a plane and landing and having this big battle scene where he just basically is a badass like he always is. And then they stab him 35 minutes into the movie and everyone's mourning his death. And all I'm thinking is like, you already told us that he's coming.
It was a mistake. It was a mistake on the trailer, side of things.
Stop doing that. I don't understand.
But I will say, even though I knew he was coming back, when he does come back, like I get goose pimples just thinking about it. I'm like, I was literally screaming, "Let's go, B! Get in there!"
I'll give you that because the moment, I mean, you knew he was coming back. The moment the at the end of the movie when what the heck was the MacGuffin called when that thing sets off that energy signal, I knew right away. Okay, that's how he revives them.
The transwarp key.
Yeah, and but when the cargo plane like opens up. And he's just sitting there, and whatever I forget what his radio says, and he just dives out. I was like,
"Well,
beat their
and
ass."
Don't Call It a Comeback comes on by LL Cool J. Because this movie had the best soundtrack of ever, right?
I just feel like why ruin it for us? Like that would have been a big moment if we didn't know that he was coming back.
Yes, you're 100% right. They ruined that with the trailers for us.
And this isn't the first movie to do that. So many franchises do that.
It's not. Ridiculous. But that being said, like knowing that he's coming back. When it happens, you're still fucking amped for it. Like,
but all that makes me think though is like, how much better would it have been?
If you're 100% right. You're 100% right though. Like, if they didn't show us that in the trailer, that moment is so much better.
And you could have shown us so much of that, like in the trailers. You could have shown us a lot of that battle scene and still left a lot on the table because there was a lot that we didn't see that happens in that final scene.
Absolutely,
and leave Bumblebee out of it. But I will say, like, him getting stabbed and kind of that being almost a little bit of a push for Optimus to be a little more of a dick, and Anthony Ramos to have to push even harder
really
to try and gain his
trust.
Yeah. But I also did like the wrinkle that Anthony Ramos's character was going to backstab him.
Yeah,
his plan the whole time was to destroy it and not let them go back to Cybertron. So like, it was almost like warranted why Optimus was a little untrustworthy, felt a little untrusting of the humans.
Yeah, I mean that was also like, I don't know if he thought that the entire time, but it kind of like came up because they had a discussion about it at one point where he was like, "Why don't we just destroy it?" And Optimus is like, "No, because then we can't get back to our planet."
Right.
And
almost immediately thinks like, "Well, that means no one else can come here." So.
But yeah, like they go on the adventure. Like once the battle at Ellis Island happens, right?
Yes.
Scourge gets half the key. Now they're on an adventure. What's the chick's name?
I don't remember.
Elena.
This is my problem though with Transformers. I can't for some reason I just can't get super into it. So I don't remember the names. I don't remember the locations. Like I couldn't tell you which Transformer turned into which vehicle. Like, I don't get why I
Oh,
can't
I
just
I
keep it in my head.
I get locked in, my friend.
It's
Locked
funny though, right?
in.
Because like Lord of the Rings and Spartacus and Game of Thrones, I can tell you houses and how they relate and whose flag is what and all kinds of stuff. I can't tell you, like, I can tell you Optimus turns into a pickup truck. I can tell you Bumblebee turns into a Mustang, I guess. Like, I really don't know.
It's a Camaro.
See, yeah, see, I
Let's
don't
not
even.
besmirch
Maybe it's because I'm
the
not a car
Camaro.
guy. You know what I
And
mean? And they keep turning
to be
into
fair,
cars.
originally Bumblebee was a Volkswagen Bug, and I kind of as much. And I'm a big Camaro guy, like we've talked about. We talked about this one on
Yeah.
when we talked about Fast One and everything that I did grow up as a car guy. I've had Camaros, like
Right.
I love Camaros, but I do find some sort of like I kind of wish he was a Bug again.
Right.
You know,
Well, that's like a classic,
It's like the classic, like just what I grew
They
up with.
could go back. They could always go back and do.
I mean, they did it in the Bumblebee
classic.
movie. They did it in the
Right.
Bumblebee movie, which
Right.
I was.
So
I
yeah,
was
they gave you
completely
that
fine
there.
with.
Yeah.
But now, like he's been a Camaro for so long that it's kind of like just like, dude, just leave him as the Camaro. I'm fine with that.
Let me ask you this, because this leads us to, we meet a new character now. So we see the Transformers basically get saved by I don't know her name, the Eagle, right? The
Air Razor.
Air Razor.
Air Razor.
So she basically says, all right, we got to go. I can show you where the other half of the MacGuffin is, blah, 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 the warp key. They're like, how are we going to get there? They know somebody who can fly them there. And it's basically another Transformer that turns into a big plane.
Yeah, Stratosphere.
The idea of like old Transformers, is that something from the cartoons?
I mean, not really old, but there's larger Transformers.
Well, but larger Transformers, I don't have a problem with. My weirdness is just like, why are these Transformers?
Because they did it in one of the Bay versions too, where they had Jetfire, right?
Like, stupid,
Jetfire was like this old.
He was walking with a cane in the Bay movie.
Yeah,
and he had glasses on. And I'm like, would you go to a fucking optometrist for Transformers? Like, it's just so stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're robots.
I hate how much you're bashing my love of Transformers right now.
Listen, I told you, I've never for some reason connected with it.
I thought it was a very all right. So we meet Air Razor. Air Razor like tells him
cool character. Air Razor was a cool ass character.
Yeah, absolutely. And voiced by Michelle Yeoh, which was awesome.
Yeah, she's a beast in herself.
Yeah, like the voice acting for all the Transformers, by the way, was fantastic throughout this entire.
I'll say that. Like again, like I said, movie. Pete Davidson grew on me. Like, they really did a great job. Every actor did a great job as Transformers.
Yeah, Peter Cullen is just anytime Optimus talks, you're just like, what's he gonna say? Like this dude is just so good with that voice.
100%.
She was amazing as Air Razor. Then you're right. They get on Stratosphere. They have to go to Peru because Elena's like, I saw some markings somewhere on the statue.
They need that it's almost like in the contract,
Peru.
The terms of service for Black Mirror fans that there needs to be a globe-trotting puzzle Indiana Jones style solution at some point.
Yeah, of course. They get to Peru. There's a big festival going on. And they realize, like Optimus realizes that, we can't do this without the humans. The humans are the only ones that are going to be able to get in there, like, undetected. And, we have another adventure scene where basically they're on, Indiana Jones style, opening up a tomb, looking for this.
Which is not bad. Around this point in the movie is when I started to warm up to the human characters. Because at this point, I kept thinking to myself, like, I don't need them. Get out of here. I don't care about you. You did your part. You activated the MacGuffin. Now go back home and live peacefully. Let the robots do their thing. But I started to kind of get comfortable and root for them a little bit. You know what I mean? I always find it funny, though, that,
I think
across all movies.
You weren't into Transformers as a kid.
Yeah. No,
you kind of missed the whole point of that they are here to work with humans.
I think, though, that's why I didn't get into it as a kid, because I did not want humans around. I just wanted to watch the robots fight. I don't need the exposition. It's like robots good, robots bad. Oh, they're fighting each other. That's all I needed. Sometimes, to me, it's like sometimes you don't need the explanation. It's enough that they just don't like each other and they're gonna fight.
Yeah, but there's got to be something to keep the fight in Optimus going, right?
Right. He wants to go to Cybertron. That's it. Give like to me, I would love it if a Hollywood studio would trust us. And this goes back to Mortal Kombat. This for me, this goes to the Transformers movies. I don't need the audience surrogate who's like learning everything as we go.
Yeah,
Let
but this
Optimus
is
be the main character. You
but
know what I
this
mean?
is
Let you
less of
kind of
a
follow him.
it's less of an audience surrogate though in the Transformers
Well,
movie.
probably, yeah, probably. I
You
mean, to
know,
me, he's an audience surrogate because
yeah,
I don't know anything about the characters. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't get that
And trust me,
history.
the human characters have all been brand new human characters. But like I said, the Transformers have always worked alongside humans, so it makes sense. Like even in the Gen 1, like later on when Noah gets the suit,
Mhm.
like that happened in Gen 1. Like they gave
I
Spike
fucking hate it.
a suit.
I
They
hated
gave
that
him an
so much.
exosuit.
I hated that
I
so
knew
much.
you were going to too. I knew you were going to. Me, I was like, yes, he's got the exosuit. It's like Spike in Gen 1. Let's go.
But there's a few things I don't like about it. If just so we could talk about that a little bit. One is
They turned him into Iron Man.
yes, but it's like once you put the CG, like cover his face, number one, so that the entire thing is CG. The
Yeah.
moment you have the human face showing with the clearly CG outfit, then it starts to contrast a little bit. So like, I don't like the look of it. I don't like that he gets the suit. He's not prepared for it. He's not trained for it. He's got no idea this is even a possibility. Mirage is like, I need you to take over, bud. He gives him the suit, and now all of a sudden he's pulling off complex maneuvers, and he's just using every weapon possible. And I'm like, I'm assuming there's some sort of organic, like
But
Mirage is there helping him,
remember,
kind of.
he was a soldier, so he has combat experience.
Well, all right, so he can maybe move left and right, but he's pulling out 17 different weapons that are built into the suit that he shouldn't even know is there. Unless again, it could be explained that maybe Mirage is not gone. He's just
Well, he wasn't gone because they rebuilt him.
No, right. So maybe he's
So,
helping him with the suit and he's helping him control these things. But
they're kind of working in symbiosis, if you will.
I will say though,
it's more like Venom with the symbiote than it
Venom.
is.
Don't bring up Venom. I can't. I don't have it in me today. No, but I can get past it and I will say that even with that kind of like complaint, I was definitely like fist pumping and like fired up when Scourge says to him like, "Oh, you're gonna take me on by yourself," and then Optimus pops up and is like, "He ain't alone, bud." And I was like, "Yo, fuck this guy up, man. Let's go!" So I was definitely into it there.
But going back to what we were talking about, after they run from Scourge, there's a highway battle scene that's fantastic. Absolutely, beautiful.
Straight out of the Transformers playbook. You know what I mean? You gotta have that highway chase.
100%. We've also met Wheeljack at this point, which I thought was great that they brought Wheeljack in, voiced by my man Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso.
Danny Rojas, I love it. The moment I heard his voice, I was like, "Oh shit!"
There was the one guy that I was just like football is life.
Yeah. Transformers is life.
Danny Rojas,
so
Danny Rojas. I was so excited. But they brought in Wheeljack. So now we're building out more Transformers. I was kind of like upset that like more didn't come out of the woodwork.
Well, so that was one thing.
Because obviously there's a bunch around the world, right?
And this is standard superhero fare where at the end it's 5 superheroes versus an army. So just having said that though, one thing, my biggest complaint about the movie, and I really did overall like the movie. I'm not trying to just shit on it the whole time, but my biggest complaint about the movie was that they ended up going with the like kind of like the faceless drone like bad guy army, which they didn't need that. You could have 6 to 10 Autobots, 6 to 10 in this case I guess Terracons or whatever they called them, and let them fight, and that feels like a big epic battle. You don't need to have the
they didn't have to have the I mean, I guess it was, the Scorpions were kind of like in place of Scorponok, which was a long-standing,
I guess,
Transformers guy, and he was also in Beast Wars.
But the moment they started kind of crawling out of Unicron,
I kind of agree with that.
Oh, man, it's to me it's similar to the first Suicide Squad movie where the witch character basically just creates like putties.
Yeah,
and I'm like, we didn't need that. You know what I mean? Like you're powerful enough.
It's the Chitauri in Avengers. You know what I'm saying? It's just faceless aliens to just get beaten up
even
by
in
the
Avengers
heroes.
Endgame, at least in Avengers Endgame, the army of good guys at the end was matching the size of the army they were fighting against.
Yeah.
Um,
But in this, we get the first look. We're going back to where we were. We're getting the first look of the Maximals, like of them
action,
meeting Optimus and all of them, and like the whole idea of that they've been here for centuries and they've been working along with these ancient Incan like tribesmen that they were hiding the key for them, and that they figured out a long time ago that you have to work with the humans, and that's what helps Optimus realize, like, oh, like I guess humans aren't all dicks,
right? Yeah. It was a cool little moment when Optimus says to Optimus Primal, like, you let humans watch the warp key, and he's like, oh yeah, I mean they wouldn't backstab us ever. I'm like, that amount of trust, like, so that was cool.
Yeah,
I think one thing this movie did really well was like kind of build up the legend of Optimus Prime.
Yes,
like they kept just little moments here and there, little comments where it was like, you're the Optimus Prime, like you're the dude. You know what I mean? Like,
you're the guy I was modeled after.
Yeah,
like that's what he says. Is like, I was modeled after you. Like
so that was cool.
I thought it was interesting that they waited until the end of this movie, and I was really getting upset throughout the movie with the Maximals that none of them transformed. Right. And then when they finally did, though, I was just like, yes, let's go.
That whole final battle. I think I said this when the first trailer came out. I probably said it during the second trailer too. That whole final scene when it's just like when he says Autobots roll out, the Maximals are with them and they're just running. And now it's just like mayhem of robotic war. Like, that's what I want. That's what I want. I want a whole movie of that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting my hair goosebumps now thinking of that, like, especially when the primals, when the Maximals transformed, and now they're running too, and just like everyone's just kind of like, one thing they were missing is just one character like running and just screaming like a war scream, like, let's fucking go. Like, I love that.
I mean, I thought they kind of had that with Rhinoc when he transformed. He's just like, get ready.
Yeah,
and he just started blasting dudes. Like, I thought it was so good, man.
I'll tell you what, this will be Bumblebee. So Transformers 1 and 2, the Michael Bay ones, I watched a few times. Like, I just enjoyed those movies. As they had problems, but I enjoyed them. Transformers Dark of the Moon, I thought was slow, and I personally didn't like it that much. They had moments also, but overall, I only watched it a couple of times. I didn't watch the Mark Wahlberg ones more than once. I saw them, and then it was like, I'm done with it. Bumblebee, I watched a couple of times. This one, I'm absolutely going to watch a few times. Like, I'm 100% like.
This it was so, like, honestly, once you get to the volcano, right, and because the last battle scene went on for a while. This was not.
I think it was about 25-30 minutes. This
was not a small, quick end battle scene. This went on for.
Comic book world, right? We get our one shot, like, long take of just mayhem and good guys just kicking ass. We got Bumblebee doing his thing, saving the day. We get the moment where the bad guys might win and then the good guys triumph, So you get everything, And again, I think I said this also during one of the trailers. There's just something that is just phenomenal or just blood pumping when you see Optimus just leading the charge and just. It's like running in slow motion, but you just know he's about to fucking unleash, and you can't help but get excited. He pulls that sword out, and you're just like, fucking take some battle axe. Dude. Oh my god!
And and then you got that same feeling with Optimus Primal.
Yes,
when he starts swinging on the arms and everything like that, and just starts biting Scorpion's heads off, and just going straight like Primal Rage style, like. You got that same feeling with Optimus Primal, with RC and Wheeljack. You got that feeling like there was so much going on in that scene. But Cheetor and Rhinoc, them transforming, and then Cheetor having the staff and just going ham on fools.
I will say, I do think that while each character did have a distinctive look overall, during that last scene though, it was almost like the colors were a little muddied a little bit. So
a little bit. I'll agree with that.
To see who's doing what, you know what I mean? Especially when they all transform.
That's kind of always been a problem with these Transformers movies. Especially like the Michael Bay ones. Like those first couple, like there's some battle
Yes.
scenes
Oh,
where
yeah.
you're just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on right
Yeah,
now.
there's a reason why they have to keep yelling out each other's names. So we as an audience can be like, oh, okay, that's what that is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the one good thing, the one benefit to the Bumblebee movie, and then also to the cartoons, is that the colors really pop. Bumblebee was like,
Yeah,
he's the only one who still like is just, he stands out in
Yeah.
any form, you know. So and Optimus does too. I just wish that like they made it a little bit more noticeable that Cheetor was, you know, gold
yeah.
or a little bit
Cheetor and
brighter.
Rhinoc, I like, and this was a ding that I thought they did. Cheetor and Rhinoc kind of got like just like smothered a little bit. Like
Yes.
they didn't have their shining moment that they should have had.
Yeah.
They didn't have really any lines. They really didn't have anything.
I feel like the problem is that they tacked them on, like they took a long time to bring the Maximals into the fold.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess going into the movie, I expected them to be more of like main players from the beginning, which that's my fault. I don't think they ever really said that was going to be the case.
You know, the Maximals, you know, Beast Wars, and like I know Transformers fans are gonna be like, they're different, but really, like they were the original Transformers, just in Beast Forms mode,
right?
You know, because you had Optimus Prime, you had Optimus Primal. Cheetor is Bumblebee.
Yeah,
right?
I've heard that too.
Like Cheetor's supposed to be your Bumblebee, Rhinox's supposed to be your Ironhide. You know, your big like tank bruiser type of guy. Air Razor's supposed to be your RC. You know, and there was a few other Beast Wars characters that they didn't bring into this movie, which I was a little bummed about too, because like I felt like they could have brought in more Beast Wars.
I guess going forward, like in a sequel or possible trilogy or whatever they want to do, then it seems like they'll expand the Maximals also along with the Autobots.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So like going forward, they're going to be one unit versus just two separate entities.
True. I mean, they may split them at some point again, also. But I think one of the issues was for me that Cheetor and Rhinoc didn't really get any screen time.
Yeah,
to be like. This
Rhinoc
is Cheetor and Rhinoc.
Did he have a moment? Like
I don't remember him really.
Like his moment, I think, was RC riding on his back when like into battle. Really, I don't think there was like a moment where he did like some sort of kind of
when they transformed. He had a solid moment where he just started blasting fools.
I don't even remember that. I don't even remember that. It didn't even stand out to me.
And Cheetor had the moment with the staff, like flipping over everybody, just stabbing.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
You know, but it was very like quick. It was very like, and they didn't really give us any. I don't even remember them speaking. To be,
I don't either. If I'm being honest, I really don't remember. I don't remember they had any lines.
Like there was so much emphasis placed on Air Razor and Optimus Primal.
Right.
And then Air Razor, obviously, when she got hit by the Scourge thing, so she was infected by Unicron's Scourge thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was an odd.
He basically pulled an Agent Smith and just like kind of touched her and copied onto her a little bit.
Yeah. It was an odd.
That was a little strange to me. I guess the point was that he used that to find out where they were, but like it went away. You know what I mean? Like it went away fast. It wasn't like some dealt with it immediately. Like
she wound up having to get killed.
No, but I'm saying they dealt with it immediately. Like I would have liked it if they held on to it, and then in the final battle, she was now fighting against them.
Yeah,
and it would have just added a little bit of an emotional kind of like, what are they going to do to protect her or save her or whatever? You know, they basically, she was lucid enough to be like, fucking put me down.
Yeah,
and Optimus Primal was like, yeah, all right, no problem.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe it wasn't that easy, but
it wasn't that easy. But I mean, it was. I mean, they made the pact. Like you could tell that they're really sticking to that pact that they made.
This question, Optimus Prime versus Scourge at the end, when he basically starts telling him like, all right, you want to know what Optimus Prime is all about? Let's do this, bitch.
Yeah.
Is that the most brutal kill in Transformers history on the big?
I mean, it's up there.
I mean, he shoves his face into like lava.
That was a Mortal Kombat fatality.
That was awesome. That was
ripped the spine out. Like
I was like,
so
damn,
down.
Fucking Optimus is no joke. That definitely made me go like, I literally in the theater was like, oh. Ooh,
that was a Mortal Kombat-esque fatality there, and I loved every goddamn second about it, bro.
I mean, we've seen some brutal moments in these movies, but that I think was up
that
there.
was up there. That was up there.
That was up there.
Like the whole end scene, like the final battle and everything like that. Like we said, it lasted for a pretty long while, and then
but the pacing was good. It didn't overdo.
The pacing was good. It didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel slow. Pacing was perfect on it. And then to get to the end where it's like, all right, now Noah's in the Iron Man Mirage suit, and Optimus Prime tries to sacrifice himself.
Right. Them going back to save him was cool.
Them going back to save him was amazing. Like absolutely amazing. Where it was just like, first Noah goes back to save him, and he I can't remember the line, but it was to save both worlds or something like that.
Until we're all one or something like that.
Yeah, until we're all one.
That was the phrase of the movie.
It was the phrase of the movie, right? And he grabs onto Prime, and he's trying to use thrusters, and then Primal comes out of nowhere, and he's got them all, and then they all Prime's got to transform into the truck to drive away. And I thought it was a little silly that Noah was on the back of the truck and he was using his boosters to try and push him faster.
Well,
it was Transformers.
I'll tell you what, man.
Version of
we're not talking about that. Yo, can you imagine if listen, it's got to be in one of these movies. There has to be a scene where Noah or whoever the human character is like in Mirage driving, and he looks back and he's just like, what is this knob? And Mirage is just like, no, don't, that's not for you to touch. And he just starts turning it, and all of a sudden you hear Mirage going like, oh, no, oh. And then it's Nas.
It's Nas.
He shoots him off. I will say, we're not going to go on a Flashpoint rant, okay? However, Flashpoint, $220 million. I forget what the budget was for Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, but it was less. And the CG, I really have no complaints besides the CG.
And 90% of this movie CG,
right? But like it looks, the Transformers really, and I'll give Michael Bay credit here. From the first movie, they've looked excellent.
Absolutely.
There's been tweaks. Absolutely. Obviously, they need to make them a little.
There's been some. Listen, there's been some missteps here and there.
Of course, but it was never like the visual fidelity didn't land. It was always like it was just a weird choice they made.
Yeah, exactly.
And they just look good. You know what I mean? Every single
one. Yeah, every now and then there's like a wonky
well,
man.
But I mean, the physics is always a little maybe weird in certain.
But there's so much going on that it's just like that gets washed away,
and it feels like it almost just feels believable. I mean, this is CG robotic monsters essentially walking amongst humans and buildings and whatever, interacting with cars and all this stuff, and it always looks excellent. It really does. Just they do a phenomenal job.
Yeah,
So like, really kudos to them. And my only real complaint visually, CG wise, is just putting Anthony Ramos's character in the suit but leaving his face there. It gives you the whole like floating head thing that War Machine had in Avengers Infinity War, that Iron Man had whenever his mask went off. It was like, just leave the mask on.
Yeah, it was you don't need to take it off. Like, it was a little wonky. But overall, like I really love this movie, and like these new Transformers movies are really hitting home for me in a way that the Michael Bay ones didn't.
Yeah, and back to back, they've had good ones now. Bumblebee was good.
Bumblebee was great. And this was really good.
And I will say, that just to now we've gone through the last final battle. The way this ended really made me excited for this.
Oh, I'm so excited for this.
And I never thought I'd say that, because basically at the end, Anthony Ramos goes in for another job interview. He's already been turned down a bunch of times. He's kind of expecting to get turned down again. He goes in for the interview. The guy starts asking him some weird questions. And he's just like, kind of like, who are you? Like,
he's like, when you were in Peru? He's like, I wasn't in Peru.
And I remember in the theater, the interviewer is like, oh, I represent a government organization, really hush hush, off the books, whatever. Your brother will be taken care of and all stuff. And I'm thinking Sector 7 from the first Transformers movies.
Yes.
Like it was building into that. And then when he turns the card around and it said G.I. Joe, and full disclosure, I never got into G.I. Joe when I was younger either. I was like, yo, that's awesome. I can't wait to see G.I. Joe and Transformers as a team in a new movie. Like, that's fucking cool. That's a great direction.
That was where I thought Bumblebee was going.
Right. Yeah.
Right. With the John Cena character, you thought he was in G.I. Joe.
I mean, they can still bring John Cena back.
Very true. And I wouldn't hate it, to be honest with you.
No.
I think G.I. Joe is another franchise that needs to have a proper, like, solid reboot or
Yeah, I mean
continuation or
they
whatever.
ruined those movies. So those what they came out with was
Yeah,
garbage.
so bad, man,
You know?
so bad. But like, I think like now that we're starting to take these type of franchise movies more seriously, now is the time to give us a proper GI. Because like, I'll be honest, did you see Snake Eyes?
Yes.
Snake Eyes wasn't bad.
No, but and Snake Eyes was the only character from the GI Joe movies that always basically was decent. They always they did an okay job with him. Not that what does he need? He doesn't talk, right?
He doesn't
But
talk.
it's just like, but still, they always captured his essence pretty correctly.
Yeah,
it was the rest of the characters that they just never seemed to get right. GI Joe Retaliation was definitely better than the first one, but at that point, it was like too little, too late. And so to throw them with Transformers, though, to build out a universe in that way, now I'm waiting for the Barbie after credit scene to be like the Transformers, like, hey, you've been driving me around this whole movie.
Well, I will tell you that there is precedent for GI Joes and Transformers.
I think I knew that. I think I vaguely remember as a kid seeing crossovers and stuff like that.
Well, it's mostly in the comics. I don't remember a cartoon ever being crossed over, but I know, like, pay attention to this month's key list, people.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to tell you. Because
shameless plug.
There's definitely going to be a certain book that's going to be on it.
Yeah. No, that was cool to see, and I wish we could have almost like seen like maybe some GI Joe, like some of the classic characters in the background or something.
Yeah.
But
or
just
like we did see classic vehicles, which was I thought was kind of cool.
But now I don't know the characters, the vehicles as well. You know what I mean? So for me, I would have rather seen some of the characters. But
yeah, I'm really excited for them to give us a Transformers GI Joe movie, or just do a GI Joe movie. Like, even if they did a GI Joe movie that was really good and then gave us the Transformers GI Joe movie.
I wonder though. Excuse me. I wonder what the correct choice is. I think the next movie should be a sequel to Transformers and bring the GI Joe in fully, versus doing a GI Joe movie, because I feel like you risk people who maybe just aren't as aware or didn't see the movie or whatever. You risk them not realizing that there is a crossover coming.
Yeah,
like this momentum is like, the Transformers Rise of the Beast maybe it didn't do as well as they wanted to financially, but word of mouth was excellent. I don't know anybody who said anything bad about it.
I don't know anybody that said anything bad.
Once it hits streaming, I almost guarantee you it's gonna
blow up. It's gonna blow up.
So like, hit the iron while it's hot. And
the biggest problem that this movie had was the timing that it came out.
Yeah, I don't know why nobody thought to themselves, why are we coming out in June? We're going against Across the Spider-Verse, Indiana Jones 5, and the Flashpoint, which, listen, we have our opinions, but like, that was a big deal. People wanted to see it.
Yeah.
Like, move it. Come out another month.
Yeah,
this pushed it ahead. We had nothing come out the first 6 months of the year.
Yeah, I think that was. I think that's why it didn't do as well in the theaters. But I think you're 100% right. Once this hits streaming, it's gonna blow up.
Even if it was doing well, it had a week before another movie came out that people wanted to see. So it's almost inevitable that it wasn't going to do well.
Exactly. What's your score on this one, pal?
So on Transformers Rise of the Beasts, I easily would give this like an 8 out of 10. And I literally 2 points, because I just don't want the human characters.
Just a hater on the human characters.
Cut out the 30 minutes of the focus on the human people. You know what? It could have started. Anthony Ramos's character could have been introduced just breaking into the building and getting in Miraj's car, and it would have made the whole movie better.
But you don't find any quality in Mirage and his little brother having that conversation.
No,
where he's like, "You better take care of my brother, bro. Otherwise, you kind of have to deal with me."
Not at all.
And Mirage like sticking to that thing and talking to his brother along the whole time.
That same relationship with the brother without spending 20 minutes on Anthony Ramos getting his brother to school and taking him with him for an interview. Or my problem is they show him like he needs money, right? Because his brother's sick and he's trying to get him medicine or whatever. You spend all this time with the brother. The focus is on like, how am I going to take care of you? Like, I'm here for you, whatever. And then he leaves him, and they never revisit the fact that his brother's sick. It has nothing to do with it. The only thing about his brother is that they were communicating. Well, stuff. So, but you could have had that. You could have had
brother's still sick, but the world's gonna end, Chris.
But my point is, you didn't need the brother to be sick for the world-ending thing to be a big deal.
No, but you needed it for him to meet Mirage because he needs some reason to have money.
Well, all right, but you could have had him after he finds out that he's got to basically go on this globe-trotting adventure. You could have had him go home to pack his bag, and you reveal that he's got a little brother, and he's like, "Listen, I'll be back." Like, whatever. They have their little moment. You didn't need the beginning of it. That would have removed 15 minutes of the movie at least, and then the whole movie seems like it moves at a much better pace.
Yeah,
to me, that slowed it down. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
But that's just my own opinion because I really just don't care about them. Just like in Jurassic Park, one or two humans is fine, but eat them quick and then get to the dinosaurs.
I'm gonna hit it with an 8.8 on this one. I really, really, really love this movie.
That's good though. As a fan of Transformers, for you to give it that high of a score is a good sign.
Yeah. Like there was so much to love about this movie, and it was nostalgic in all the right ways without feeling like hammed up. And right. Peter Cullen's a goddamn American legend at this point.
You think we get Megatron in whatever?
I hope so. Because the biggest problem I see them going with forward is villains. Because like we've done Terracons now, like at some point you have to bring us Megatron.
Right, I feel like he's kind of overdue to come back now and be the character he's supposed to be.
Yeah, I would like to see personally. I would like to see a true version of Dinobots also, because that last night shit was not okay.
No, I think they could do. So in the next movie, you should still have the Maximals and the Autobots. Yeah, that movie should introduce the Dinobots and bring them into.
They could do it. They could do it like they did in the cartoon, man, where Wheeljack is just like, I'm trying to create new Transformers because Megatron's got this an army, so let me create them out of fossils, and he creates the Dinobots. Like, I would be fine with them doing it that way.
Yeah,
and then we get a true Grimlock, because next to Optimus, Grimlock arguably is stronger than Optimus.
That's awesome,
brute strength wise, but he arguably might be a better leader too. It's one of those things where Grimlock, the leader of the Dinobots, is such an important character in Transformers comics and cartoons and everything like that, that he should get his due without him being some weird spiky dragon thing that Optimus rides into battle. I was so mad about that. I was so mad about that.
And again, the human side of it, like Mark Wahlberg was not needed, and I hate the idea that he pulls out a sword at the end and saves the day with a sword. I'm like, dude,
because in all honesty,
in this one he gets a whole suit that helps him like fight off the Terracons. Mark Wahlberg with a sword and just
like going back to Gen 1, the Dinobots were my favorite Transformers.
Okay. I guess I get that, right? Dinosaurs are awesome.
Yeah.
Big robots are awesome.
Robotic dinosaurs that transform into robots that kick ass. Like, what more could you? It's Jurassic Park meets Transformers.
I want, after G.I. Joe X Transformers, whatever they call that movie, I want the end of that movie to be like G.I. Joe being like, "Oh, we have some new recruits. We heard they like pizza," and then just leave it at that, and like lead to like a TMNT.
No, you know what I want?
Transformers.
I want the leader of G.I. Joe to contact the CIA and be like, "Hey, Mr. Nobody, do you have a team of people that could drive these robotic cars?"
Mr. Nobody goes, "I got one better for you.
I got a family."
And then you see just Vin Diesel just turn with that face.
And Optimus transforms in front of him, and he's just like, "I guess I'm driving you."
It ain't the car, it's the driver.
It ain't the car, it's the driver.
And then Optimus is like, "What the fuck this guy just said to me?" But it would only be worth it if one of the Transformers transforms in a way where he's wearing a black muscle shirt and he has a chain hanging over the shirt. That's it. Having been mad the whole time. That'd be my favorite.
Oh, you know how bad I want a Fast and Furious Transformers.
That would be amazing. Dude. But see, now, perfect scenario is Vin Diesel. You start a movie with him like running from the cops. He's in. Let's pick the Middle East this time, and he's running through slums and whatever. He looks off in the distance and he sees this pristine muscle car, and he's like, all right. He runs over, he jumps in, he hotwires the car.
It's a
and he
yellow Camaro.
Right? He starts driving. All of a sudden, he goes to kind of pull the e-brake, and the car just doesn't react. And he's just like, what the? And then all of a sudden, it does a turn on its own, a 180 turn or whatever. And he's just looking down like, what the fuck? Like, and then all of a sudden, it hits its own nos and fucking goes. And he's just like confused now. What the hell is going on? And then in the middle of it, it transforms. And he's just like, are you kidding me? And then boom, Fast X Transformers. Done. That's it.
And he's handing out Coronas to Optimus Prime.
Yeah, but the cooler that they're in is a Transformer.
Yo, Bumblebee, you got to say grace.
Bumblebee just goes through a bunch of radio stations and says grace. Honestly, man, you get Tyrese in somehow in some sort of like multi-dimensional role where he keeps flipping between both his Fast character and his Transformers character because his body is not supposed to occupy the same DNA.
I will say, like, he has one of my favorite lines ever in a Transformers movie,
which is
when they're in the battle, and they're shooting, and Josh Duhamel's like trying to make the call to the Air Force. He's like, I gotta get the call. And he's on a regular cell phone. He's like, I need a credit card. He's like, left cheek.
Listen, man, Michael Bay is Michael Bay, right? He's got his shortcomings, but the dude can make a fucking entertaining action movie.
And we're gonna dive deep into that very soon.
Oh man, I already watched Bad Boys, so I'm ready. I'm waiting for you.
I'm watching it tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Tomorrow I'm gonna watch it.
That's Transformers Rise of the Beast deep dive and review. Please like and subscribe. Let us know what you think of the movie yourselves. Let us know if we're right or wrong, what your opinion is. And keep an eye out because we got a ton of movies coming out in June. And we have a whole backlog. We have a wheel of movies. At the end of not the new movies, but at the end of the kind of filler episodes, we'll be spinning that wheel. We'll be adding to the list.
Yeah.
So Bad Boys is coming. We got Indiana Jones 5 coming. The Flashpoint is coming. Extraction 2 is another one. That one's coming.
Mission Impossible 17.
Mission Impossible was that in July? I think that's coming. So
it's like the first week in July.
Yeah. So lots of movies. Like and subscribe. Stick with the channel. Turn on notifications. We'll see you next time.
Deuces.